Hi everybody, it is Sunday the 27th of March and tonight we have got District Manager Heidi Farrow, woohoo, who is training tonight on Eric Worre's Skill 2. So I'll pass it over to Heidi.
Thank you, Danny. On a moment, here we go. Oh, apparently we're right at the end. I promise we will start at the beginning. Okay, so skill 2 is all about inviting prospects to understand your product or opportunity. Let me just get rid so I can see. There we go. So there's 4 big rules with this before you do anything. Completely emotionally detach yourself from the outcome. Don't care what the outcome is going to be. If it's a yes, it doesn't matter if it's a no. If it's a yes, brilliant. If it's no, brilliant. You're one step closer to a yes. So completely emotionally detach yourself from the outcome. Be yourself, because a lot of the people you speak to, especially to start with, are going to be your warm market. They know you. If you start being fake, they will know it and completely dismiss anything that you're saying. Bring passion. So if someone's sat in front of you and they're like, yeah, I've got this really great opportunity, you just need to look at it, you're going to be like, oh God, that's nice. But if you sat there and you go, oh my God, I've got this amazing opportunity, you need to have a look at it with me, they're going to feel that coming from you. And the same thing with posture. Have a strong posture. If you sat there slumped over the table, yeah, whatever, they get a lot from your body language. So if you're sat and you're like, oh, yes, it's an amazing opportunity, they're going to feel completely different. Yeah. So it's an 8-step invite. It sounds scary, but I promise it's not as scary as it sounds. So first one is be in a hurry. So they can't keep you talking and they can't start asking questions. So make sure you're in a hurry. Compliment the prospect. Make the invitation. The famous if I like you. Step 5, get a time commitment. Confirm this time commitment. Get a time and a number, and then get off the phone because you're in a hurry. So step 1, being in a hurry. If you're going to warm market, something like, I don't have much time, but it was really important that I caught you, or I have a million things going on, I caught you, or I'm running out the door, but I needed to talk to you real quick. If it's cold market, say if you're in a coffee shop or something, now isn't the time to get into this as I've got to go, but I'd love to share with you, I'd love to contact you, I'd love to meet with you, or I have to run, and the same thing. So step 2 is compliment the prospect. So warm prospects are maybe, you've always been so supportive of me, I appreciate that so much. You have an amazing mind for business, and I can see things, and you can see things other people don't. You're one of the most positive, energetic people I've ever met. Then if it's a cold prospect, you've given us some of the best service I've ever received, or you're really switched on, can ask what you do for a living. And just make sure the key to a compliment is it must be sincere. There's no point going, if someone's come up to you and gone, what do you want, written it down and walked off in a coffee shop, you're not going to say to them, you've given us some of the best service I've ever received, because they really didn't. So the compliment must be sincere. Step 3. So here we've got direct approaches, indirect and super indirect approaches with making the invitation. So with a warm prospect, a direct approach, what could be, I'm launching a new business and I really want you to take a look at it. An indirect approach is sort of, I've started my new business and I'm really nervous. Before I get going, I need to practice on someone friendly. Would you mind if I practiced on you? So that's very indirect. They're not feeling pressured into looking at anything. They're just like, oh yeah, I'll help you out. And super indirect is, do you know anyone involved in a serious job search? Completely nothing about the business. And cold prospects, the direct approach, obviously something like, do you keep your career options open? Indirect doesn't really work with cold prospects, but super indirect does. And that's, who do you know who may be looking for a great business that they could run from home? And then we go on to step 4, the famous if I, would you. So don't offer your third party tool unless they agree to do something in return. So if I sent you a video that explains all the information in a professional way, would you watch it? So you're asking them to give you a yes or no. If you've done the first 3 steps well, the answer should be yes. If they ask for more info, I'd normally say, if they start asking for bits and bobs, they're going to get half a story. So just go back and say, I've got a link, I've got a video that'll explain it all much faster and much clearer than I can now. So do you want to have a watch of it? If they say no thank you, thank them for their time and move on. Don't send them the information anyway, because if they say no and you send them the information, they're going to be like, oh God, just leave me alone. And then step 5 is get a time commitment. So ask them, when do you think you could watch the link or video or read the book, whatever it is you've done for sure. Don't suggest a time, let them give you a time. And if they say, I'll try to do it later, respond with something like, I'm not 100% sure personally with this one, but respond with something like, I don't want to waste your time or mine when we'll have seen it for sure. And a yes to step 4, which is the previous one, is not a commitment. The key is to get a second yes. So with the step 5, you're getting a second yes, hopefully. And step 6 is to confirm. So if they tell you that they'll watch the video or the link by Tuesday night, then respond with something like, so if I called you Wednesday morning, you'll have seen it for sure. And hopefully they'll then say yes. And the key to step 6 is they've now said 3 times that they'll follow through. And they've done it all by themselves. So they've set a real appointment with you for the future. And when people have a proper appointment, it sticks with them and they tend to make sure they do it. And step 7 is get a time and number. So ask what the best time to call is. If you ring them at 8:30 in the morning and they've got kids and they're on the school run, they're just going to be like, oh, go away. But if you arrange a time, say 10 o'clock, they're home, they're having a cup of tea, that's a perfect time to call. And then now they've said yes 4 times, and the chances are they'll follow through. The chances are that they'll follow through has been increased from less than 10% to over 80%. And add the date and time to your diary. Call when you say you will, meet them when you say you will, text when you say you will, whatever you're going to do, make sure you do it. And then step 8, get off the phone. Because remember, step 1, we're in a hurry. So the best thing to do is just say something like, great, we'll talk then, I've got to go. And that's the end of the invite. So an example of a full conversation. I'm going to get this out of the book. In the Eric Worre book, there is loads of these and loads of ideas of all of the steps. I've just picked a few out just to give you a few ideas. So putting it all together, this is just the first example. And it says, hi, I don't have a lot of time to talk, but I'm really glad I caught you. You're one of the most successful people I know, and I've always admired your achievements. When you told me you really didn't like your job, were you serious? And then obviously they'll reply, great, I think I've found a way to create an exit strategy whilst maintaining your current position. I have a video that you have to watch. It describes what I'm talking about better than I can. If I send you the video, would you watch it? It's 30 minutes long. When do you think you could watch it by? Tuesday? So if I call you Wednesday morning, you'll have watched it. All right, I'll call you then. What's the best number and time to call? Great, speak to you then, got to go. Put it in your diary. And one more thing, that's sort of the end of, but like I say, go and have a look. There's loads of stuff in the Growth Accelerator workbook. It's in the files. It's either on the Allen region or the Wells Nation. Might even be on the Do More. I'll have a look and I'll post it on our page. But since doing that, Eric Worre, that's in now. I can stop sharing now. But since making that book, he's done another one, which is about texting. So I'm just going to quickly, we've got time, haven't we? Yeah. So I'm just going to quickly go over what he says about texting, because texting we've sort of always thought it's a bit impersonal rather than phoning. But one thing he said is how often do you ring somebody and they don't pick up the phone, but 30 seconds or a minute later you get a text saying, sorry, what did you want? Or something along them lines, and you're like, I just rang you. So you text them back, and that's just sort of how it is nowadays. People are so busy that they haven't got time sometimes just to sit and have a conversation. But a text, they can just, it's quick, it's easy, they can just answer when they've got 5 minutes to do so. And just text. One thing he said is he did it at one of his webinars, and there was like 50,000 people probably watching this webinar. And he said, test it. Just send one text message and invite someone for coffee, or ask them what the schedule's like next week. Obviously keep a note that you've texted them, so keep a note of when you've texted them and who you've texted. So obviously you don't text the same person if you delete your messages or something. And he says there's 4 things. 1, it's easy, everyone can do it, and everyone's got the confidence to do it, especially at the start. 2, it's fast, it can be done any time. So like in between this call and the next, you could probably text a couple of people, whereas you probably wouldn't phone them because you'd perhaps be a bit like, oh, I haven't really got time. Whereas a couple of texts you could probably send and you could sign into Zoom at the same time. Number 3, it creates action, it gets you moving. And number 4, it creates results. So what he says is, with it being so easy, it's very rare people say no. It's fast, it boosts people's confidence. What else does he do? Well, he says when he has a new consultant, he would sit with them when they've signed up and said, right, okay, text 10 people now and just say that you've just started this business, or can I meet for coffee, or however they want to do it, just get them to text 10 people. And he said it's getting instant appointments, and instantly when he leaves, they sit there and think, I can do this. I just did that all by myself, and it really gives them that massive boost of confidence. He says very, very rarely, because he's done a lot of research into texting, so do this. He said very rarely do you get objections, unless someone's been really damaged before by network marketing, or you've already vomited it all over them. It's very rare you get objections. And if they do object, and sort of test the water, so say, do you want to meet for coffee? And then if they reply, say, oh, that'd be lovely, I've got something I'd really love to show you. And if they say, well, actually, no, I don't want to, if you're going to vomit that network marketing all over me again, no thanks. So say, oh no, that's fine, we'll just meet for coffee, but still meet them. Still go and meet them for coffee. You're still their friend. You still want to be their friend. Otherwise, you wouldn't have asked them to go for coffee. And if the business does come up, if it's someone that you've vomited on before, or they've perhaps had a bad experience before, ask them why. Ask them why they don't want. If it comes up in conversation, don't make it come up in a conversation. But if it does, just ask them why. And apologise. Say, look, if I've vomited it all over you before, look, I'm really sorry. I was new and I was learning and I did it wrong and I was probably really nervous. Just explain to them how it is, because they're your friend at the end of the day. And more conversations means more relationships. And he says do 100. So do the 10 first, and then over the next month, send 100 texts over that month. And then if he did some numbers, and he says if you send 100 texts over that month, you're likely to get, with his averages, you're likely to get 30 to 50 appointments. So 30 to 50 one-to-ones, just meetups, whatever. So that's 2 a day for 15 to 25 days, or it's 1 a day for 30 to 50 days. The average from that is 3 in 10 will become clients and 1 in 10 will become ICs, which means from that 100, is 12 new clients and 4 new ICs. Then if you do that with your 4 new ICs, you can see how your team can just absolutely explode just from a few text messages at the end of the day. And he says if you've got a team of 100 and everybody did that, that'd be 30 to 50 appointments each. So that's per person. And this is where the numbers get absolutely crazy. And it goes to being 3,000 to 5,000 appointments during that month. I was like, wow, that's actually incredible. Which on averages would turn out to be 1,200 new clients and 400 new ICs. And then if you do that again, and you do that with everyone, it just shows how amazingly quickly this can absolutely explode. So, and I think that's it. But I can share that video on the Do More page as well, because it is a really good one to watch. It's like 40 minutes long, so I've literally just picked snippets out. So yeah.
Heidi, that was amazing. That was so good.
Thank you.
I feel like when I was watching that, I was remembering when you used to do the napkin presentations a year ago and how much you've grown in your confidence. I remember when you used to have your whiteboard and you'd be shaking and you'd, oh my God,
I can't do this.
You have grown so much. Like, honestly, you're like Jane, like massive transformation. That training was delivered beautifully. Honestly, you are professional. You're a professional network marketer. That was fantastic. Right.
Thank you.
I'm going to just stop the recording.